Throughout NBA history, some of our greatest players have given us some of the greatest scoring performances we have ever seen. Fans have watched as Wilt scored a ridiculous 100 points against the Knicks. We've seen Kobe drop 81 on the Raptors. We witnessed Jordan torch the Celtics for 63 points in the playoffs. We were in awe when Brandon Jennings put up 55 points as a rookie. Yeah, you heard that right. Brandon Jennings holds the record for most points in a single game by a rookie with 55. 55! That game makes absolutely no sense, which is why it fits the theme of today's video perfectly. So what's up, guys? My name is Mike, and yes, today we are looking at the most random 50-point games in NBA history. Every one of the 5 guys on this list was a career NBA role player. Every one of the 5 guys on this list had no business scoring 50 points, but somehow they did score 50. So let's just jump into this video and start with number 5, Brandon Jennings. In recent years, Brandon Jennings has become somewhat of a loose cannon. He's gone from a man who had the potential to be one of the best scoring point guards in the NBA to a liability as a bench player. But in the 2010 season, Jennings was still full of promise, and as a rookie, he exploded onto the NBA scene and seemed like he was an emerging superstar. In his first 11 games, Brandon scored 24 plus points 7 times and ignited hope in Bucks fans everywhere. This hype reached its all-time level when in just his 7th game of his career, Jennings shocked the league when he became the youngest player in NBA history to score 50 points in a game. Brandon would overtake LeBron James for this record when he dropped 55 points against the Warriors and set the Bucks record for points in a game by a rookie, a mark that was previously set by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So yeah, in one night, Brandon Jennings overtook 2 NBA legends, and he did this by shooting 21 for 34 from the field and went nearly perfect from 3 when he connected on 7 of the 8 shots he took from behind the arc. And the craziest part about this performance was that he was held scoreless in the first quarter, which means he scored 55 points in the next 3, and in the third quarter alone, he shot 12 for 13 and scored 29 points. In the fourth, he scored another 16 and helped lead the Bucks to a 129-125 victory over Golden State. Again, this made him a Bucks legend at the time, and after the game, he was quoted as saying, "I was just trying to do what I could to help us win. We were out of sync in the first half and really needed to step it up." Don Nelson would call Jennings' performance probably the best rookie performance I've ever witnessed in 30-some years of coaching. Corey McKetty said, "I don't know if anyone has done that since Magic. He was something pretty special tonight." But of course, after being compared to legends, we know Jennings did not match these expectations. But still, he'll retire with one of the best performances by a rookie the league has ever seen. Number 4, Corey BREWER. Corey BREWER was once seen as a player with all-star potential. After an awesome career with the Florida Gators that saw him win 2 national championships, the Timberwolves drafted BREWER with the 7th pick in hopes that they could build their franchise around him. That didn't work out. And overall, Corey's NBA career could only be seen as a disappointment. But on one night, everything did work out. As in an April game in 2014, when still playing for the Wolves, Corey tapped into the potential that teams once saw in him. The seeds for a career game against the Houston Rockets were planted early, as almost instantly, Corey was able to run out for several easy baskets in transition. Okay, maybe this one wasn't easy. But anyway, after 5 early layups, BREWER had clearly begun to heat up. From there, he began to take the ball in the half court and drive hard to the basket, finishing around the rim time and time again. And to prove this really was his night, at the end of the first half, Corey took the ball, threw up a prayer from half court, and watched as it miraculously sunk through the net. When the game was all over, Corey had led the Timberwolves to a 2-point victory over the Rockets. And not only was he an offensive force all night, scoring 51 points on 19 of 30 shooting, but on the defensive end, he had also added 6 steals, making him only the 4th player in NBA history, along with Rick Barry, Michael Jordan, and Allen Iverson, to score 50 points and record 6 steals in a single game. To put it simply, this was a shocking performance, as BREWER has averaged just 9.2 points per game for his career on just 42% shooting. shooting. In fact, this game was so unexpected that when told about Corey's 51-point performance, LeBron simply looked at the reporter who told him and said, "Wait, who?" Which was a reaction that pretty much took the words out of everyone in the NBA's mouth. Number 3, Tracy Murray. There was a time when scoring 50 points almost seemed easy for Tracy Murray. As a high school senior, he led the nation in scoring with over 44 points per game, and as a junior at UCLA, he averaged 21.4 points per game before leaving the Bruins as 5th on their all-time scoring list at the time. However, Murray would never really enjoy that same type of success in the NBA. In fact, he didn't come close. In his 12 years in the league, Tracy was considered a below-average player at best. He started in just 80 of the 659 games he played. He averaged just 9 points a game, and he shot just 43% from the field. Still though, he always had his jump shot, a jumper that Byron Scott once described as one of the purest he had ever seen. And so, Tracy's knockdown jumper always made him a threat to score points in bunches, but no one expected that jump shot to make history, because for one night in February during the 1998 season, after getting his first start of the year due to a ton of injuries on the Wizards roster, Tracy Murray was able to turn back time and give everyone a look at the type of scorer he was in high school and college. As Tracy said, "It was a time I finally got a chance to play my game with no restrictions," and that's exactly what he did. With the defense focusing on other options early, Murray was able to get some easy scores around the rim and then began to showcase his automatic jump shot. Soon as shot after shot began to fall through the net, the Golden State Warriors defense began to realize what was happening. So they made Murray their focus, but still, he was able to rise up over defenders and bury jumpers all night long. And as the game went on, his teammate, Rod Strickland, certainly knew to feed the hot hand. Strickland would finish with 20 assists on the night, and Murray would finish with a staggering 50 points on 18 of 29 shooting. Behind this duo, the Wizards would win this game easily. The only real drama came late when Murray went to the foul line with 49 points and a chance to break 50. A career 83% shooter, Tracy actually missed his first shot before calmly sinking the second to give him the first 50-point performance in Washington Wizards history. Number 2, Tony DELK. The fact that Tony DELK, a career 8-point per game player, recorded a 50-point game is crazy enough. But the fact that he recorded one of the most efficient 50-point games we've ever seen is borderline unbelievable. On January 2nd, 2001, Tony DELK dropped 53 points on 20 of 27 shooting in an overtime loss to the Sacramento Kings. He did this without making a single three, and this was possible because his mid-range game that night was nearly flawless, and he connected on 13 of his 15 free throws. Now, just to put in perspective what Tony DELK accomplished on this night, since 1985, only 5 other players have scored 53 points on 27 or fewer shots. These players were Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Dominique Wilkins, Glenn Rice, and Willie Burden. But going even further, the only players to score 53 points or more on 27 or fewer shots without hitting a 3 are Karl Malone, Michael Jordan, and Tony DELK. So when you take into account that for his career, Tony averaged 9.1 points per game on only 40.8% shooting, his performance against the Kings was more than random. It was a borderline miracle, especially when you realize that the second most points he would score in his career was only 27. And number 1, Terrence Ross. Toronto Raptors fans have come to agree that Vince Carter is the greatest player to ever play for their franchise. In his 7 seasons playing in Canada, VC was a 6-time All-Star, the cover athlete for NBA Live 04, and an absolute scoring machine. A man who was capable of averaging 27.6 points per game in 2001. Which is why it's no surprise that Vince Carter is tied for the Toronto Raptors franchise record for points in a single game with 51. What is a surprise is that Terrence Ross, a man whose career high points per game for a season season is 11, is the one who tied Vince Carter's record. Yes, in a game against the Clippers in just his second year in the league, Terrence Ross absolutely exploded. He would begin the game by making his first 4 3-pointers, and after missing his 5th, Ross connected on his 6th attempt from beyond the arc, giving him 5 made 3-pointers in a single quarter with this tough leaning attempt. From there, he would continue to light it up from behind the arc, finishing with 10 total threes, and he also began to do what he does best. The 2013 Slam Dunk Contest winner found himself putting back a Kyle Lowry miss. Then he stole the ball, took off on the fast break, and slammed down a monster alley-oop. This was just Terrence Ross's night. Jumper after jumper went in. Tough finish after tough finish went in. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't enough. Despite his 51-point effort, the Raptors lost, but nobody seemed to mind. This was probably because the crowd had just seen one of the most improbable scoring outbursts the league has ever seen. I mean, heading into this game, Terrence's career high had been just 26 points, and when asked after this game when the last time he had scored 50 points was, Ross replied, "Last time I had 50? Never. This is the first time." So Terrence Ross might retire with an average NBA career, but at the end of the day, he's going to be able to tell his grandkids that he scored his career high on an NBA basketball court, which is just amazing. So there you have it, guys, the most random 50-point games in NBA history. If anything, this list should inspire you. It should tell you that if Brandon Jennings could score 55 points as a rookie, well then, you could do anything. And so if you did enjoy this video, if you were inspired, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I make basketball videos like this. I look at NBA what-ifs, I do NBA history, I look at NBA conspiracies. Basically, if it has to do with the NBA and it's interesting, I make a video on it, and so if you love the NBA, I think you'll love this channel. And to everyone who's already subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting. You're awesome, we know this, and we're on the road to 1 million. We're getting there, baby. We're on that grind, and as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music.